and welcome to Belhaven University's Alumni Award and Hall of Fame Recognition Banquet. I am Frank Walls. I'm the Associate Vice President of Advancement here at Belhaven. Since returning, Pam and I have discovered a robust, in fact, one of the most robust art scenes in all of higher education. We rarely miss a performance. Being a former Blazer myself, we also do our best to catch just about every athletic performance, athletic competition that we can. I'm a very vocal supporter of several of our athletic programs here. Student life here is vibrant. I see a couple of people that I have taken on backpacking trips. Pam and I get to get glimpses of student life in the student center and sometimes participating in ministry here. All that being said, tonight is my favorite event of the year. It is a joy and a blessing, one, to recognize our alums, but just being with my favorite people, Belhaven people, brings me a ton of joy. I also want to take a moment to recognize our sponsors for Homecoming Weekend and for this banquet. And speaking of alums, all but one of these sponsors are alumni-owned businesses. So let me encourage you to the degree that you can, that you patronize these businesses. I think if we'll forward the slide, we've got some others. Where we go? I think Sherry tells me that I will probably soon be a client of Imagine. That's behavioral. Behavioral health. Okay, great. So I'm going to take a moment now and let us pray for the evening. Father God, you are so good to us. Your love for us is never ending. Your faithfulness is like a river of living water flowing from one generation to the next. Father God, I ask that you would bless this evening. Bless our time together. May our words, our thoughts, and our actions be pleasing to you, that you may be glorified. I am pleased now to welcome Dr. Parrott to the podium. He's going to give us an update on the university. I'm going to ask if you would please stand. I would ask that you would recognize Dr. Parrott's 30 years of faithful, diligent, and productive leadership as president of Belhaven University. And it sure smells good. I'm glad our students are having the same menu tonight, just like they have every night. Just like it was when you were here, right? It is wonderful to be with you, and this is a very special night for us as a university to have alums back and to recognize significant achievements. And as Frank said, it is kind of fun that I'm celebrating 30 years of being here as president. Hard to believe, it seems like yesterday I got here and I had so much more to do, so I'm not slowing down at all. But we do have an issue of the tartan, which will come to your mailbox in the next 2 weeks probably. And in that we highlight some of what's happened in the last 30 years. And as I paused to look back, I kind of got amazed at what God has done. Not what I've done, what God has done, and done through marvelous people who make up Belhaven University. About 500 different employees during my 30 years here. There are only 2 people who are still currently here who I didn't hire. I've hired everybody else. And so if there are any problems, it's my fault. And but it is wonderful to work with such a group of. But looking back and reflecting, in 30 years, 17 buildings, new buildings or major renovations, 25 new undergraduate degree programs, 16 new master's degree programs, 3 doctoral level programs, and 7 sports, plus a move to the NCAA, which has been a great move for us. But you know, the real story is not told in those things you can see. The real story is told in here, of who our alumni are and what God has done in your lives. And I tell students often, the test is not what happens in class this month. The test is not what happens when you graduate. The test is 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now. That's the real test of life. And Belhaven has put those foundational roots in your life that have made the difference, that have sustained you through the hardships and the challenges and the joys of life, that's when we've been successful. So it is wonderful to read these stories. You're going to hear some of those stories tonight of what our alumni have done, and it's just marvelous to see. So our alumni are why we do what we do, but that doesn't happen without incredible faculty, and we are blessed with marvelous faculty. And tonight we're honoring two of those faculty, and I want to make sure you know who they are. Andy Sauerwein and Song Ji have been welcomed into what we call our legacy of learning. Our legacy of learning are faculty who have through the years taught 20 years or longer full-time at Belhaven University. And in the center of campus, you see our legacy of learning walk, where their plaques are there, with their favorite verse, the year they started, and their department, so we can remember them, because they are the ones who have laid the path for our students. And Andy and Song are here at the provost table tonight with Andy and Song. Would you stand so we can recognize you on 20 years of service? And both of them happen to be in the music department, which is kind of remarkable. So really thankful to them. But you know, we talk about the past, and tonight we reflect on some of the past, but it's all about the future this institution's about. And so it is an exciting future right now. We are experiencing some record enrollments this year in a number of areas, which is really fun. The campus is filled and vibrant. I just got a report late this afternoon, and for those of you who are especially older alumni, who think back to the early days of Belhaven, you kind of won't believe this number. In our Doctor of Business Administration program, our enrollment just went over 400 students. And there was a day when Belhaven didn't have 400 undergraduate students, and now we've got that many just in our Doctorate of Business Education, Business Administration. There's also our doctorate in education as well, which has several hundred students. We've added two new master's degrees recently, one in data science and another in AI. You know, Christians need to be in the front of setting policy and direction on AI. If not, the folks who don't have ethics and morals are going to take it over. So we want to be in that arena. We want strong Christian people to be prepared in that marketplace. And so we're really thrilled with that degree. And then our new counseling degree has just taken off farther than any of us expected. I think there are about 85 students enrolled in it now. It's a 2-year degree, and we've been wanting to do counseling for a long time. I'm really thankful now to have that degree in place. It's a hybrid degree, so students mostly do it online and come to campus for a little bit, but really offers an opportunity for people to get a counseling degree who cannot come full-time to a campus for a program. And our traditional program has hit some records this year, 1,050 students in our traditional campus program, and 96% residence hall capacity. I don't think we can get much tighter than that. And so really thrilling to see that. And you know, we put on a big push this year for students from the local area, from Jackson Public Schools to come to Belhaven. And it was interesting to me how many of them from right here in town still wanted to live on campus. They wanted that experience. Even though they could easily commute, they wanted to be here on campus and have that full experience of Belhaven, and it says a lot about the strength of what we have and what we do. Part of the reason that enrollment has done so well is this is an unusual time for higher education. It's an unusual time with intense competition and marketing and changes in higher education. So we've had to do some creative things, and a couple of things that we're doing that you wish you would have had when you were here as alumni. One is that we now offer our students, if they take a double major, if that double major pushes them into their 5th year of study, they come tuition free. And that allows our students to have a much broader education and preparation, that they're not just studying one field, but they're studying 2. And I think about 25% of our students are now double majors, which is really wonderful to see, and I think prepares them so much better for the future. And along with that, we've also, and this started during COVID, you know, when we got in the 2nd year of COVID, it was pretty depressing, and students were down and not looking much to the future. We thought we've got to do something to help them look up and think about what's ahead. And so we decided to offer all of our traditional graduates who finished that year and going forward a free master's degree. And the program works so well, we've been able to continue it. And so all of our students who are now enrolled, when they graduate, they can take a free online master's degree from us. And the nice thing about it is they can take it right after they graduate. They can take it 5 years later, 10 years later, 20 years later. It's up to them. And it's all online. So they don't have to stay in Jackson to do it. They can go off and wherever their careers are. It's really a nice opportunity. And then we've been making a big push with especially our partnership, our long heritage with the Presbyterian Church in America, and working with them, and have offered an opportunity for Presbyterian pastors' children to come tuition free to Belhaven. And they have been a blessing to the campus and who they are and their spirit. And I think we have 52 of them now enrolled from all across the country. Most of them never would have come to Belhaven otherwise. And it's really a joy to have this deeper partnership with the PCA. We've also offered a 50% scholarship to any PCA member to come. And then we have provided a free online master's degree to anyone working full-time in RUS. So really deepening those relationships, because that is important to us and important to the denomination. But you know, lots have changed, and higher education is going through more turmoil now than I ever experienced in all my years of doing this. But the thing that hasn't changed is our mission. We hold true to what we believe, where we stand, to God's truth, to God's grace, and our mission is solid. It's delivered in different ways because of the uniqueness of who we are, with now 1,000 plus traditional students and 3,500 plus online students. So we deliver it in different ways, but the mission is embedded in everything that we do. God has been faithful to Belhaven, and I'm thankful for who you are, because again, you are the testimony to the 30 years I've enjoyed as president. So let's continue to produce great alumni, and I can't wait to see in 40 years what they look like. God bless.
Well, good evening, and thank you all for being here. This is an incredible night, and we had our athletic staff meeting on Wednesday of this week, and I was talking to our coaches and our administrators and trainers and strength and conditioning people, just our whole staff, and was talking to them about homecoming weekend, and specifically this event, and telling them that Frank talks about his favorite event of the year, and as we do in this setting, just seeing and celebrating things that the Lord has done. Obviously that is just so fast, we can't even get our head around it, but to see examples of it, to hear stories, which we will hear tonight. As part of that, we like to take a segment of the time together tonight to acknowledge and recognize our Athletics Hall of Fame. We do the actual induction, kind of what some of you are here for the awards, and you're going to get here and talk. We actually do the induction tomorrow at halftime of our football game, which is at noon. We would invite all of you. We don't ticket or charge for tickets. It's an open facility, and you can sit where you like. And so we figured that's just a good service, and we don't have the manpower to handle ticketing and move somebody who doesn't want to move. And so it works out well for everybody, but that's at noon tomorrow. We've got men's soccer's on the road, women's soccer play this afternoon, and volleyball's out of town, and cross country's off, and those are just the fall sports. So football plays at noon tomorrow. We would love to have you here if you can, and see the induction of the class. I'm going to ask Kevin Griffin, who's our Associate Athletic Director, and probably best known for being our head softball coach here. I've asked Kevin to come up. One of the things that Kevin does in his broad set of responsibilities, besides winning a ton of games, and there's like a milestone win coming this season, I think, right? Yeah. Well, Kenneth and I talked about it, so we'll recognize it when we get there. But Kevin, among all the coaches that we have, Kevin is he's just grounded in our mission, and he and his family love the Lord, follow the Lord, and he is an incredible recruiter and developer of talent, and he wins a lot. We went to the World Series a couple of years ago and finished the national runner-up. That is a pretty big deal. This is our fifth, last spring was our 5th consecutive NCAA tournament, right? All he does is win, and they do. But he'd be the first to give the credit away, and so it's because he has good coaches and he recruits really talented women, and that is true too. And so I'm going to ask Kevin to come up and just kind of introduce our inductees for this year, give you a little snippet about them, and we'll have them and their families stand so you can kind of eyeball them. We also have athletics alums who have won some of the additional awards tonight. And so, our mission in athletics is an extension of the university's mission. And we're about two things. We're about creating an environment where our young men and women can compete for championships. That's why we play competitively. And to mature as men and women created in God's image. And so that's what we give all of our energy to work-wise, and who we hire and who we play, and all of that is grounded in that. So Kevin, would you come and kind of walk us through these names, and we can celebrate them together.
Thank you, Scott. I'd also like to thank Frank. I appreciate him allowing me to come and recognize these athletics. He's serious when he says he's a big supporter of all sports. I just hope we keep winning so you're not a vocal negative supporter and won't be gone.
I'm only negative with the referee.
There you go, yeah. But thank you for letting me be here and do this tonight. Also, I think it is pretty neat that some of you who are receiving these alumni awards tonight are former athletes here at Belhaven as well. I know Fred and Jake both. We're really good athletes here at Belhaven. First ones I want to recognize tonight, and if you'll stand when I call your name so everybody can see you. Jefferson Nino with men's tennis. Jefferson was a star student athlete for the men's tennis program here from 2012 until 2015. And he was on some of the most successful teams that the tennis program has ever had here in its illustrious history. And we've had a really good history with men's tennis here at Belhaven. Jefferson was a 4-time NAIA All-American, receiving the national honor each of his 4 seasons competing for the Blazers. That does not happen very often, to be an All-American the entire time that you're in an athletic program in college. Additionally, he was named the All-SSAC second team in each of his 4 seasons with Belhaven, while helping the program to 4 straight NAIA national tournament appearances, and that showcased his impact on the successes that our men's tennis program has had. Once again, a round of applause for Jefferson Nino. Next, Lance Santamont. Lance is one of those athletes that excelled in 2 sports here at Belhaven. It's hard enough to be really good at one and to be really good at 2, just as a testament to work ethic and dedication, and you have to be a high character individual to be able to accomplish both of those. But with men's basketball and men's tennis, he was a 2-sport athlete, as I said, from 1987 to 91. Competing for the men's team in both basketball and tennis. As a part of the men's tennis program, he was named All GCAC singles and doubles in 3 consecutive years, spanning from 89 to 91. He was also a part of 4 conference championship teams as well during his tennis career. And on the basketball court, he ranks as the program's all-time assist leader even today, with 449, and is top 5 in steals all time with 159, showcasing his prowess as a 2-way player. And those are 2 stats that are completely selfless statistics. Anytime you're sharing the basketball and then you're getting a lot of steals, you're contributing to your team's success in those ways that You don't always see it show up in the stat sheets or get talked about, but those are two huge statistics. And congratulations to Lance for being inducted into this year's Hall of Fame. Lance Santa. Tiffany Ansley with softball. She is not able to be here tonight, but she was a standout for the program from 2007 to 2010. She came in, or I came in the year after that Tiffany and Warren, who I'll announce next, played here. I've been here as the head softball coach. This is going on my 16th year as the head coach here. So I didn't have a chance to coach either one of these players, but I watched them before I got here, and just incredible athletes. Tiffany was here from 2007 to 2010. She played in the first national tournament that Belhaven softball played in 2010. She was an NAIA All-American in 2009, twice named an NFCA, which is the National Fast Pitch Coaches Association All-East Region team, receiving that honor in 2009 and 10. In 2007, she was an All-Conference Freshman of the Year and named to the All-Conference team in 3 consecutive years. She helped us to the 2010 GCAC Conference Regular Season Championship, and all time she ranked in the top 5 in program history in nearly every offensive category, as well as total number of games played for the Blazers. Tiffany Ansley. Next is Lauren Biediger. Lauren was a player who, when I first took the job at Belhaven in 2011, we went to Mobile to play a team called Spring Hill. And I walked up and I saw Lauren and I was like, we're not pitching to her today. And she was an assistant coach, and I was glad I didn't have to pitch to her. But I wish I'd have been able to have her on our teams, because she was an impact player for Belhaven from 2007 and 2008, helping our program to an NAIA Region 13 tournament appearance and received multiple national honors. Named an NFCA First Team All-American in 2008, an NAIA Second Team All-American in that same year, and she was the All-Conference Tournament Team member in 2007, as well as an All-Conference team member in 2008. Lauren ranks top 5 all-time in batting average, in home runs, in slugging percentage, home base percentage, and her 2008 season ranks as one of the best single seasons offensively in program history. Lauren Biediger. And last but not least, this is a guy, when I got here in 2011, he was the men's tennis coach here that year, and our offices were next door to each other. He was always the life of the hall, the life of staff meetings, just a very neat guy to be around. Levi Patton going in tonight for the men's and women's tennis. Levi was the head coach here at Belhaven for both the men's and women's teams for 9 years, from 2008 to 2016. He also competed for the Blazers as a student athlete as well, so another student athlete that ended up coming back and being a coach at Belhaven, and he was a student athlete in 2003 and 2004. He oversaw some of the most successful seasons in recent history for our tennis program. He had both teams in the NAIA top 25 at different times. During his coaching career, they were in the national tournament and reached the round of 16, the first time the program had ever reached that point under the NAIA's postseason team format, and he amassed over 200 wins at the helm of both Belhaven tennis teams, with one of the highest winning percentages in program history. And I think when you think of tennis at Belhaven from a coaching standpoint, obviously a lot of y'all remember Coach Rudd, and the other one is Levi Patton. So let's give him another hand. Thank you very much, and allowing us to announce his inductees tonight. And again, tomorrow at 12 o'clock, the football game we'll be recognizing each of these inductees with an award at halftime of that game. Thank you.
I am happy to report that women's soccer won their game versus Agnes Scott today, 9-0. Big things happen in small places. We've got 3 national championships have been won by Belhaven athletic teams. And the first one in '83 was men's tennis. We had 2 with men's soccer. And so it's so good to see some of my old classmates and Belhaven athletes here tonight being recognized. Just awesome. Education is discipleship. Dr. Peter Jones, the author of Only 2 Religions, has postulated that there are only 2 religions. Man is made by nature to worship, and you're either worshiping creation or the Creator. And likewise, in higher education, you're either being discipled by the world or you're being discipled in the Word. Those of us that had the privilege of being mentored, taught by professors like Henry Ford, Dr. Wynn Kenyon, Betty Quinn, Don Hughley, Danny Shaw, and many others were coached by Charlie Rugg or Bill Litton, or in fact mentored by classmates even, have experienced, we can attest that our worldview is shaped by them. It's helped us to interpret the news, to navigate challenges, to remain steadfast in adversity. And so these factors in our lives were established by our time here at Belhaven. But tonight, as we have said, we're here to celebrate the accomplishments of our alum, but not just the accomplishments in their careers, but lives lived out in kingdom purpose, all to the glory of God. And so, that's what gets me excited about being here tonight. And tonight we're going to start off with what, in fact, maybe one of my favorite awards. If you study the statistics on what's happening to pastors, we're facing just a famine of pastors in the pulpit in a number of denominations and regions in this country. And so the Church Service Award, we are recognizing tonight Chris Gibson from the class of 1978, who also happens to be a soccer alum as well. But Chris beautifully reflects what it means to serve the church faithfully. Since 2004, Chris and his wife Debbie have ministered overseas, offering counseling, pastoral care, and soul care to missionaries and their families. He is an ordained Presbyterian minister, a licensed counselor, and holds a doctorate focused on missionary care and the prevention of missionary attrition. Chris's ministry strengthens those who carry the gospel to the nations, reminding us that those who encourage others often labor quietly, but their impact resounds eternally. The Church Service Alumni Award is presented to one who strengthens the work of the church in sharing the gospel. Chris, you've done this with excellence, compassion, and humility, living out the heart of Christ, who came not to be served, but to serve. Please join me at the podium.
Wow, it's great to be here tonight. It's good to see so many of you, friends, people that I don't think I've seen in I don't know how many years. A friend of mine was speaking at a reunion, and he said, "I'm glad you all came, but why'd you send your parents?" But Belhaven has had such a legacy in my family. 3 of my sisters, I was a baby boy, not spoiled, you just ask my wife, and they all went to Belhaven. And I grew up in Central Florida. I think back in the day, Belhaven recruited heavily in Florida. And so they met their husbands here, pastors, a doctor. And I can't tell you that the the seed of faith that was planted in my life as a child, how it was nurtured here at Belhaven under some of the professors that were mentioned earlier, Frank. I think particularly of Knox Chamblin. I remember a buddy of mine, we were sitting in the cafeteria and he just flings a biscuit across the cafeteria at Knox. Knox catches it with one hand and flings it right back at him behind his back. You know, Knox just loved the students, and that was so evident. I remember Dr. Busby just giving me a love for history. He was just such a phenomenal man, and a love for his story. And then I'm a psych major, so you know I'm going to mention Dr. Elia, that really just put in my heart a curiosity about the human soul, and the mind, and the spirit. And so I can't tell you how honored I am to receive this award and how much I love Belhaven. Two of my daughters, three of them, I have four daughters, three of them are here tonight, two of them attended Belhaven. And many of my nieces and nephews, as you can imagine, with so many of my family having come to this great university. So thank you, Frank. Thank you, Belhaven alum. I appreciate so much being here tonight, and thank you for this great honor.
You know, as I was reading through the bios and preparing words for tonight, I'm looking through how many we have that served internationally, served in very intriguing endeavors. And I have to confess, my wife and I love watching espionage series and thinking, these look like cover stories. And we were at the meet and greet, and our next recipient, I overheard her saying, well, when I got FBI clearance, and wait a minute, I think I'm onto something. Anyway, I'm very excited to introduce you to you. And again, Betty Quinn, who coming back and getting to be here while she was still teaching in her last years was an incredible blessing for me. But I'm proud to introduce to you Tricia Wood, class of 1976. She has dedicated her life to learning, teaching, and communication. After earning her English degree at Belhaven, she served with Campus Crusade, Indiana, and later became the English editor at the FBI's National Virtual Translation Center. I'm eager to hear what that really was. But ensuring accuracy and clarity across languages and cultures. The Betty Quinn Education Award recognizes an alum who reflects Ms. Quinn's legacy of dedication and service in education. Through every season of her career, Tricia has used her gifts to help others pursue truth with both excellence and grace. Tricia Wood, please come forward and join me at the podium.
Good evening. Former First Lady Laura Bush once observed that teaching is the easiest job to do poorly and the hardest job to do well. I wish that she could have met Betty Quinn, our Belhaven legend, who was chair of the elementary education department for 54 years. She exemplified the hard work of teaching well, and she lived the Belhaven motto, to serve, not to be served. I feel greatly humbled to receive this award named in her honor. Betty Quinn relished a challenge, so she requested a struggling elementary school for her first teaching job. Years later, she would speak of her joy in seeing what her first pupils had achieved in their lives and careers. Like Professor Quinn, I'm grateful to have had a part in the lives and careers of my students, adult professionals in English as a second language courses, both here and abroad. In retrospect, I can clearly see the Lord's hand guiding and protecting me through changes and adventures. At the Defense Language Institute, I taught advanced English to military officers from around the world, preparing them for further training with the U.S. military. This led to an assignment in the Czech Republic teaching officers at the Czech Military Academy language school preparing to train in the U.S. From there, I received a U.S. Information Agency appointment as an English language fellow at a Czech university. There, I taught both undergraduate English majors and experienced teachers of other subjects in a special program requalifying them as English teachers to meet the growing demand for English language instruction after the fall of communism. I also traveled extensively in the region, conducting seminars for English teachers and observing and evaluating student teachers. These opportunities allowed me to grow professionally and to strengthen my language skills, both in German, which I had learned years ago at Campus Crusade in Austria, and then in learning Czech during my 5 years in country. It was the best job of my life. And along the way, I created some lifelong friendships. More recently, I taught in the certificate program at Georgetown University that prepared naturalized citizens to use their native languages in careers and positions involving national security. I'm still friends with many of those students, and I take pride with them in their significant career accomplishments. No one becomes an educator primarily for financial gain, but the intangible rewards of teaching are priceless. The Belhaven website displays a banner, Find Your Haven. I found my haven, my refuge, and I'm still enjoying the benefits of what I learned here. I was recently recommended to a local writer for editing work. This writer was told that because I was old school, I would not miss anything. I had to laugh as I remembered our marvelous professor, English Department Chair Dr. William Durrett, whose many students carry on his rich tradition of old school, meticulous work. My freshman year, I unexpectedly passed the concert choir audition, having never sung in a choir nor taken voice lessons. Under Mr. Henry Ford's direction for 4 years, I learned much about singing technique and repertoire while gaining a great love for sacred choral music. More importantly, the concert choir gave me my best friends and my sisters for life, Dr. Clarissa Bader Davis, Jan Irving Bruning, and Sissy Irving Voigt. Wherever I have lived, as soon as I find a spiritually enriching church, I join the choir. I'm eternally grateful for the deep, lasting friendships forged here, Belhaven's sound biblical teaching, and a strong academic foundation that prepared me for graduate school and beyond. For these and so many more blessings, I will give thanks to the Lord all my days, for he is worthy to be praised. And I would like to close with a quote from one of my former students. In a text last week, she wrote, "We follow the example of the greatest teacher and servant of all, Jesus Christ, who taught with compassion, led with truth, and served with love." Thank you for sharing in my joy this evening.
"33 years ago, I worked enrollment here, and being an admissions counselor, you're trying to entice students to come to Belhaven. So I was finding out, well, what have our alumni done? And back then, all of our alums were teachers, pastors, and missionaries. And you're like, oh, okay. And it's been intriguing to learn what our alums have done since I'm in this role, and I'm connecting with our alums and our donors. And but to see what our missionaries, pastors, and teachers, the impact they've had in this world has been spectacular. And of course, I got to look at my guys back out and repeat that shout out to Dr. William Durrett, who loved the tennis program about more than anybody. The Business Success Award. I got to meet Lawrence Overby before anybody ever nominated him for an alumni award. And I was intrigued by both his role, but also discovering he had written a book about church marketing. And I thought, church marketing, that doesn't go together. I'm kind of interested to hear what he's writing about. And so we sat down for coffee, and lo and behold, his first experience was a pastor saying, "Hey, come to this church marketing event I'm going to." And him thinking, church? marketing. Those two don't go together. And it was the capstone project for his MBA that saw him realize, wait a minute, evangelism is marketing, and bringing people to church is marketing. And so I would encourage you to look up his book, especially your ministry. You need to read it. It's a very good book. But class of 2018, Lawrence is our representative here tonight, having graduated from one of our remote campuses. He's a senior information technology executive, author, and Air Force veteran. As director of global database engineering at the IHG Hotels and Resorts and founder of Relevance Ministry Marketing, Lawrence demonstrates excellence in leadership and ministry innovation. His book, Marketing for the Modern Mindset, equips churches to communicate the gospel effectively in a changing world. The Business Success Award celebrates those who live out Christian values in the marketplace. Lawrence models integrity, vision, and faith. A reminder that business can be both a calling and a ministry. Lawrence, join me.
Years, she's still giving me what to say. So. But no success in that. 1 second. Good evening, Belhaven family. I am deeply honored to receive the 2025 Business Success Award. I want to express my gratitude to God and to those who considered me for this prestigious award. Standing here today, I can't help but think back when I was deciding whether to attend Belhaven or not. I remember asking myself, why would someone attend a Christian university to pursue a business degree? After enrolling in Belhaven, I soon found out. At Belhaven, I discovered that when I combine the Bible with business, the result is harmony between purpose and profit, and being guided by godly principles. I also discovered that integrating biblical principles into real-world business strategy helped me to make wise decisions, to lead with integrity, and to serve with humility. My time at Belhaven was more than lectures, it was more than assignments, it was more than grades. It was a season of refinement for me. But more than anything, it was here at Belhaven that I found my passion for marketing. It was that passion that God later used to inspire me to write a book on church marketing and ultimately to start a company in church marketing. Since earning my MBA here at Belhaven, God has opened many doors that I could never imagine. Today, I have the privilege of leading one of the world's largest hospitality brands, engineering and operation practice. I oversee systems that support more than 6,700 hotels in over 100 countries, enabling more than 1 million guests each night to rest their heads in beds. Likewise, I have the distinction of pleasure of mentoring young leaders, helping them to navigate challenges and to see the unseen. Moreover, God has allowed me to pour my energy into serving the church, working with pastors and ministry leaders to expand their reach, that more people can hear the gospel and ultimately come to know Jesus as their Lord and Savior. But I'll be honest, it hasn't always been easy. There were seasons of doubts and moments when I questioned whether I had made the right choice or even if I could finish the course. But time and time again, God reminded me, Ephesians 8:28, that He causes everything to work together for the good of them who love the Lord and who are called according to His purpose. This award is deeply meaningful to me. It represents more than my journey. It represents my family, my friends, my mentors who walked with me, who prayed with me, who helped me to be shaped into who I am today. If I could leave a word to each of you, it would be, dare to trust God in your dreams, your studies, and your career path, and watch Him turn faith into purpose and purpose into possibilities. As I close, I want to leave you with one simple thought. True success isn't just about what we achieve. It's about how we live, how we love, and how we honor God in all that we do. From the bottom of my heart, thank you, Belhaven, for this incredible honor. I am grateful, I'm humbled, and I'm thankful. Thank you, and may God continue to bless Belhaven University.
me to connect Lawrence with Gabriel. Right? You can do it. All right. Ministry Influence Award. A couple of years ago, I had this guy call me, hey, we need to meet. And I'm like, oh, okay. And since then, I've gotten to hang out with, communicate, and talk with Joseph DeBolja, the recipient of our Ministry Influence Award. Talk about influence. This is the guy that came to Belhaven to play basketball, that and nothing else. And Christian college didn't have really anything to do with why he came here. So it's been interesting to see where God has led him, and I couldn't be more pleased to recognize Joseph, to see him recognized with this Ministry Influence Award. He serves faithfully in Croatia, his home country, and abroad, preaching, teaching, and discipling others through relational ministry. Using his background in sports, especially basketball, Joe builds bridges to share the gospel and to encourage believers. He is passionate, that's an understatement, about intentional discipleship, walking with others in faith as mature believers once walked with him. And shout out to Coach Connors, who's here tonight. Through Ministry Influence Award, this honors one whose ministry builds the kingdom through faithful service. Joe's life exemplifies relational ministry rooted in love, investing deeply in others just as Christ invests in us. Joseph, please join me at the podium.
Wow, good evening, good evening. I grew up in a dysfunctional family in Croatia. My dad was from a Muslim background. I never been to church. I never met a Christian before I came to Belhaven. And I was a hooper, I was a basketball player. My whole life, until I was 22, it was about basketball. So I got an opportunity to come here, and I was told I'm going to have to attend this chapel thing, which is a Christian thing. And I was okay, I'll do whatever I can so I can get out of my situation in Croatia. I came in 1996, I didn't speak any English. Zero. Yep. And Coach Connor, who's here, when I met him first day when I came here, he named me JoJo. My wife and my mother-in-law called me JoJo. Coach, thank you for the scholarship. I think, the last one. I'm sorry for some of you, I got a full basketball scholarship. I think, Dr. Berg, thank you so much for not recognizing that I had a full scholarship. Because I was told he had to cut this project down. I had literally no money. I came here with $50. I borrowed $500 to pay for a ticket. So if I had to pay anything else, I couldn't even come. But there were so many people that impacted my life. And I just want to shortly recognize them. And they're here. We'll start, like I said, Coach Connor. Carlo Baglioni, we worked on campus 4 years. Carlo taught me about ethics, how to work hard. And Carlo hosted our son, Ben, last year, or 2 years ago, while he was going to Hartwell Academy. Carlo, thank you so much for being my friend all these years. I have Tim, my teammate, basketball teammate, Tim, you're always nice to me. Thank you for being a friend all this time. Brianna, thank you guys for coming and being supportive. Jimmy and Ann, I had no money, so I had to work extra. Besides campus, and because I had a visa, I couldn't get paid the first year. So I had people like Jimmy and Ann help me to work at their house, and they've been a friend all these years. I had my friend Jurica, who is from Croatia, came with me. Him and I coach basketball. He's the head coach, he's my boss. I just help him out. And he came here first time 3 days ago. My in-laws, not to forget my wife. I met my wife at Belhaven in 1996. We started dating, and immediately after we went and played Sanford, I think, in Birmingham. I had sprained ankles, I had to have a crutches, I had to meet my father-in-law. And I had an earring. So my girlfriend at the time said, take that off. So my father-in-law took me to McDonald's and he wanted to check me out. Like, where am I? It was spiritual. But then began a journey to get to know Jim and Liz, who have 9 children. My wife and I had 5 children. I learned so much from my father-in-law and my mother-in-law is. Wow. Dr. Al Chestnut, many of you know who Dr. Al Chestnut is. He knew me before I was a believer. Dr. Al Chestnut became a mentor in college and all these years until today. He's my mentor, and along with his wife Betsy. And when I come to Jackson, that's where I stay, primarily. And they weren't able to come because of the previous arrangement. And Neil was supposed to be here. My friend Neil from South Africa. He was here for a moment. Where are you, Neil? Yeah, Neil was my mentor at the beginning. So Neil and Carl and some of these guys can confirm how bad my English was. But anyways, praise God, I met Christ here, and it changed my life. And finally, there's my wife in Croatia, and my 3 kids, Abby, Emma, Leah, my wife Kelly, and there are 2 of my kids present here. And that's my son Ben, who attends Belhaven. He's a sophomore, along with his girlfriend, and my oldest, Mia. She just graduated with American College in Croatia. The reason I wanted to just mention them is because, to me, ministry and life is all about relationship. And since then, all these people have made impact in my life, and they still today are encouraging me and have taught me so much in investing in other people. So I have an opportunity to travel globally to impact or just to build a relationship. And it's a big thing. Just last week, I was told Sergio is leaving our country to go back to Colombia. So I invested in him for a year. I look forward to go seeing him. So I want to encourage all of us, as we're busy, and this is a public ministry, so we've been recognized for public ministry, but my main ministry is investing in people. I love hanging out with people. And Yurica can attest to that. And I just want to encourage all of us to invest as the Lord did, as we see Paul doing it. And yeah, thank you so much for Belhaven for selecting me in this award. Definitely, it's beyond belief. Thank you so much.
Our next award recognizes excellence in STEM. You know, I came here on a soccer scholarship, but actually an academic honor scholarship. And my first year playing soccer, I was the leading freshman scorer. I lost that scholarship, and therefore the athletic scholarship as well, which had covered almost my books. And I didn't get a full ride of it in soccer. So the next year, I found myself being the leading garbage man on the maintenance staff. So when I sit here and introduce to you the STEM Distinction Award, this is very humbling for me to look at the credentials and the experience of Dr. Peter Mitwitty, who, by the way, is also a soccer alum and cross country. But Dr. Peter Mitwitty represents academic excellence anchored in faith. After earning both his MD and his PhD from UMMC, Peter trained in orthopedic surgery and trauma before returning as a faculty surgeon and a researcher. He is a practicing physician. He mentors young physicians and advances medical knowledge, all while modeling compassion and humility. The STEM Distinction Award is given to one who achieves excellence in science and innovation while maintaining a Christian worldview. Peter's life and career remind us that healing and discovery are acts of worship when guided by the hands of the great physician. Peter Mitwitty, please join me at the podium.
Frank, thank you, and thanks for having me. I feel a little bit bad with the other speakers. All have very nicely written speeches. I just left sweaty scrubs, changed, came straight from UMC, and here I am. But thanks for having me. I'll just briefly go through what Belhaven has meant to me. And I grew up overseas. My parents did mission work in Turkey, 4 boys. My parents went over there when we were between 1 and 5 years old, 4 boys. And great upbringing overseas. My parents were awesome. I was kind of a lost child on and off throughout my life, and somehow I was fortunate enough to end up at Belhaven. Followed my older brother here. He played soccer briefly. I came, kind of followed him. Decided to major in sports medicine only because it had the word sports in it. Loved soccer growing up in Turkey. Somehow I ended up, through God's grace, ending up kind of heading in the medicine route. And it was primarily because of the influence of Don Berryhill, who was a sports medicine chair here. And he said, have you ever considered, well, initially I was thinking athletic training, ended up kind of going towards physical therapy. He said, have you ever considered medical school? So I started heading in that direction and kind of went full scale into that. Dr. Waltzer's here, Dr. Chestnut. The biology department was kind enough to kind of adopt me as a dirty stepchild, even though I was a sports medicine major. But they were huge influences in my life as well. Tons that I can name, Dr. Kenyon, Dr. Phillips, like tons and tons of faculty who were kind of life changing and kind of steered me away from, I genuinely was fairly lost coming out of high school, but turned around academically, spiritually, and I was really blessed to come through Belhaven. I ended up just short stone's throw away at UMC for my med school and grad school. And then I met my wife, Kimmy, who's here. She was in nursing school, and she was kind of kept me going. We have 4 kids now. I took her away, unfortunately, from her family for all my medical training. And I always felt a draw. I never necessarily felt a pull to go back overseas for mission work, but I always felt Mississippi was a mission field for many reasons, but particularly medically. And I'm really lucky that they had a spot for me at UMC when I was looking for a job a few years ago. So really fortunate to be here. Love coming through Belhaven. I don't live in Belhaven anymore like I did during med school. But love coming through here. I think I have a role in recruiting my little brother Luke back to Jackson. He now teaches a Bible here. And my other 2 brothers I'm working on to come back at some point to Jackson. But thank you, Belhaven. Thanks for having me, and I appreciate it.
Public speaking, it's not knee surgery. It's interesting. I think we have 4 alums on faculty at UMC. And, when I was here, the word was that if Dr. Chestnut recommended you for med school, you were in. And what's fascinating is the number of alums who had told me that, I'm in med school thanks to Dr. Chestnut, but his class felt like a Sunday school class. And I still get cards from him with encouragement and Bible verses. And I'm glad that you brought Dr. Chestnut up. Oh. Next up is our Entrepreneurial Award. Our prior football coach, Blaine McCorkle, introduced me to this man, Fred Terry. And I have spent my life working around business people, and especially entrepreneurs. And I've never, this guy is among those that I would call a serial entrepreneur. Just can't stop creating jobs and businesses. And at the same time, the most chill guy that I've ever got to know. And Fred and I are co-conspirators, partners in spring feeding the football team and their families, no easy task, and various alumni events. I've learned a lot about cooking from this guy, and if you ever get a chance to eat his food, do not miss it. But I'm sitting here tonight, I'm watching him work the room, and I'm like, yep, that's Fred. I don't think you meet a stranger, and you remember just about every former classmate you've met here who is here tonight. So it's a delight for me to introduce to you Frederick Terry, a man who has turned vision into mission. He is the founder and co-owner of TLS and Associates, a healthcare training company and staffing agency. He also established Oasis Haven Assisted Living and is now opening a community mental health center, having gotten approval for that, meeting real needs with compassion and skill. Frederick's work combines entrepreneurship with a heart for service. His faith shapes his leadership, his integrity defines his business, and his compassion drives his mission. The Entrepreneurial Alumni Award recognizes a servant leader who builds enterprises that bless people and glorify God. Your life is proof that business success and kingdom service can walk hand in hand. Please walk up here to the podium.
most fun part of the whole evening. Good afternoon, how's everybody doing? Get my little phone out here. Of course, I can't remember my passcodes.
He was a computer science major.
Computer science major when I was here, and I can't work on iPhone. Isn't that something? First of all, I want to say thank Belhaven for this esteemed award. I'm a really hard person to surprise because I'm always in everybody's business, and these guys surprised me with when they told me that I had got the award. You know, me and Frank was supposed to be meeting to get lunch, and all of a sudden he said, well, hey, something come up, can you come by the office instead of meeting for lunch? I said, well, okay, sure. So I've got on scrubs because I'm running around, and I walk in the office and they have this whole deal going on, Brett and everybody and Miss Carrie, and I was just like, you know, you guys got me. I was looking for the camera. But thank you guys. I'm going to be as quick as possible. My tenure here at Belhaven, it was great. I came in '98 on the first football team in school history. I remember Dr. Perry coming in and talking to us and just telling us, you know, how ecstatic he was to have football here. You know, we kind of got the whole spiel, but hey, listen, we've got some money, we don't have a lot of money, you know, we can give you a little something, and, you know, most of us guys were here just playing because it was something that we enjoyed and just wanted to be a part of history. I can remember, you know, meeting Dr. Kenyon, which had the most wonderful, awesome laugh I've ever heard. The first time I heard that we were in the dining room eating, I'm like, is something wrong with somebody? And I know that's Dr. King. I said, is he laughing? Are you serious? So yeah, and I remember meeting Dr. Martin, you know, real nice, real chill guy. And people ask me all the time, you know, kind of, you know, where did your calmness, you know, where does that come from? And he just saw me one day and we just sat down and talked, and, you know, he was like, I was like, his calm demeanor just kind of stuck with me. Over to my left, he doesn't think I'm going to say anything, but when it comes to business, one of the people that sparked me with business, and this is his first time hearing this because I've never had a chance to reach out and contact him, was Dr. Jim Keary. He really played a pivotal role in me wanting to go into business because my degree here was in computer information systems, and then I went back to school and got my LPN license and then my RN license. I worked at the bedside, but that entrepreneur spirit was just always there. And anything that I do, I'm going to try to figure out how to make a business out of it. I tell people all the time when I'm talking to people, is everybody wants to eat, but nobody wants to hunt. Okay, and if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you've got to hunt. Okay, and everybody in here that's a hunter or a fisherman know that sometimes you go hunting and fishing and you don't kill anything but time. Sometimes you go fishing and you don't catch anything but a wave. And so you have to be able to, you know, stay prayed up about it, you know, stay faithful about it, that the mission that you set out to, you're going to accomplish what you're looking for. I also say this, I said, you know, everybody wants to be a boss until they see the invoice. That's right. Everybody wants to be in charge until you see what it costs and what it takes. And it's not just financial. I have to give it up to my wife. You know, she's been with me, and she's been with me through the sleepless nights, and I come home and I've got an attitude and just, I'm mad with the world, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna give you some space, let you calm down, and we're gonna start over because it's gonna be all right. She's like, you know, if the Lord led you to it, He's gonna lead you through it, so it's gonna be okay. So I have to commend her and give hats off to her for all of her patience with me as we're going, you know, through this. You know, now we're kind of at the point where she's always fussing about me being on the phone or the computer, and she's like, can you put that down for a minute? And when she says that, I politely pull up the bank account, and she says, well, hey, take as much time. Right ahead and take as many calls as you need. Just as long as that's doing what it's doing. And you know, while I'm speaking, there's some pivotal people at my table. My Uncle Derek and my Uncle Derek and my father, Frank, which are both military, and I can remember both of them saying this and say, listen, son, if you're on time, you're late. Okay? If you're on time, you're late. And so I take that and I try to instill that into all my employees and everything that I'm doing. It's, hey, let's be punctual. And you know, just being on time, that is a respect to your job and to your coworkers. And I'm closing out here. I'm not going to be very much long. But I tell people a lot of time too, people always say, well, you know, when I go into business meetings and people are trying to start, you know, different entrepreneur or different business with me, I say, well, Fred, what do you bring to the table? I said, well, you're behind the curve because it's not what I bring to the table, I am the table. When you get me, you're getting the best, and the best comes from Belhaven. The best was instilled in me here, and that's not being cocky, that's just being confident. And when you have the Lord on your side, you have that form of confidence. It's not what I bring to the table, understand that I am the table. And I wish my phone would quit going off and I could just go through this, but it keeps closing. My brother was at the table, my older brother, coming up, we're about 5 years apart, and you know, I get tired, and you know, I was an athlete in the family, and actually he is the speaker of the family, right? So I really wanted him to come up here and do this for me. I would have felt better. But he always tells me, he says, young bro, listen, it's hard, but it's fair. And if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. And if it's put on you, it's put on you for a reason, because he's not going to give you more than you can handle, okay? He doesn't, he said, when you play football, does the coach put the weakest player in when something got to be done? I said, no, he's put the best. So if you want you're there because you are the best at what you do, okay? So when you're put in a position, in a situation, you're put there because of who you are and what you can do. My wife, I'm going to give her accolades real quick, and she tells me this all the time. She said, baby, whatever you do it with love, because love never fails. Every business that I have, I do it with love. Right now with the assisted living, we are focusing on clients with mental health because they tend to fall through the cracks. Normally when people hear of assisted living, they think of places like the Blake and some other places like that, which are nice, and I'm not knocking those, but there was a need for patients with mental health that were falling through the cracks. You were seeing these people on the street, walking around, they're homeless, they're in and out of the hospital, and they really just need someone to love on. And you would be surprised that of all the medicine that we practice, of all the treatments that we do, what works the best is you going to a resident, going to a client, and letting them know that you really care about them and you love them for who they are. And you would be surprised how far or how that changes their attitudes and the way that their treatment is going. And it's wonderful, and I thank my wife for that, for instilling that in me. And I want to leave this with you guys, and I will tell you all to use this in whatever you do. And it says this basically: stop rehearsing your failures and visualize your wins. Stop rehearsing your failures and visualize your wins. We're all winners in every aspect, and we're going to continue to win in what we do. Once again, Belhaven, everyone, Mr. Frank, thank you guys for this award. If you ever see me on the grill, just bring your appetite. Thank you guys.
I got him to almost stop calling me Mr. Frank, and that's pretty silly. Yeah, but there he goes again. So I wasn't going to, but I have to point this out. If you look at his picture here, the hall that we're on, we've got pictures of past presidents, and I looked at that and I'm like, Look at that beard, look at that stare. He fits right in there with the president. So I'm excited to see where you're headed to, Mr. Fred and Terry. And I'm gonna be very self-indulgent here. I heard a couple of you, so on the count of 3, can we get a Win Kenyon laugh? 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. So I mentioned, I think, that I spent time here recruiting students. Somehow I managed to leave just a couple months before Dr. Perry got here. I'm not sure what that says, but so tonight I'm excited to share with you the recipient of our Arts Excellence Award, because Dayton Castleman was a student here when I was recruiting. And Dayton was not a traditional athlete here, but he does hold the record for the quickest ascent up the northern stairwell in Robertson on a bicycle. And so if you get a chance to ask him about his competition in, is it technical writing, I think is what it's called. That's my name, thank you. But class of 1998, Dayton Castleman is a Belhaven legacy and a visionary artist. After earning his MFA from the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, Dayton became an accomplished sculptor, educator, and now serves as Director of Creative Placemaking at Verdant Studio in Bentonville, Arkansas. Through art and design, he creates spaces that awaken imagination and invite people to experience beauty that points to the creator himself. The Arts Excellence Award honors an alum who achieves excellence in the arts while honoring God through creativity. Dayton reminds us that every stroke, every form, and every creative act can reflect the glory of the ultimate artist, our Lord. I have to share with you that Dayton and his brother Scott and I probably all shared the common trait that it was kind of a surprise that we actually graduated, or not suspended, or were you? Anyway. So, Dayton, would you please join me at the podium?
I'm actually the second recipient of this award in my immediate household. I'll tell anybody that asks, I'm not the best artist in my house. 7 years ago, my wife received the Arts Excellence Award based on her career after her time here. But thank you, Frank, for the consideration. Thanks, Roger, for bringing law and order to Belhaven in 1995. I think for my first 2 years, myself and my group of closest friends really applied our imagination to figuring out how much trouble we could create or cause on the campus, and how much, I think, life we could bring to it. There were 3 faculty members that encouraged, I think, and helped establish the trajectory of myself as an artist while I was at Belhaven. One of those was John Whittington. He was a long-time chair of the department. He was the person that spearheaded the accreditation by the National Association of Schools of Art and Design. And his encouragement is most memorable at the time that I asked him to respond to something that I had made and invited his feedback on it. I remember him looking at the work and looking at me and looking at the work, looking at me, and saying, it's not good. Very important moment in my life as an artist, because the only way you're going to get better is to acknowledge that you're not there yet, you haven't arrived. The other was Bruce Bazaire, who during one of our classes early in my freshman year in 1993, told the entire class of incoming freshman art majors that if there was anything that they could imagine doing with their lives and being satisfied doing that, then they should go down to the registrar's office, change their major to that. Because if they remained in this track of pursuing art, that they had a hard life ahead of them. And I can attest to that. I want to thank my mom and dad for not saying, over our dead bodies, you will be an art major. And I want to thank them because I'm sympathetic to that, having lived 27 years after being an art major and knowing how difficult that process actually can be. The other faculty person was
Evelyn Kate Mills Irby, and her, not a specific moment, but 3 or 4 years of just sparring with each other. And her, if there was ever an iron sharpening iron moment, that was a big one. And I just want to thank the school in general for the ability and the time and the people who could speak wisely about how a young person works out their faith as an artist and what that means, and the permission to think of it as something more than a hobby, but as a calling, and to continue to pursue that. I'm still trying to be an artist when I grow up at this very moment. And so grateful to this school. You know, it wouldn't be here if Roger hadn't come in and straightened it out, I think, in a lot of ways. We didn't like the addition of the football team at first, but then we created a wrestling event to involve all the football players after that first year y'all were here. You know, we didn't like remote campuses and online programs at first because it felt very unlike this small little private liberal arts Christian college. But there's a lot of wisdom in that. I'm grateful. Thanks for this. And see the football game.
As I said, I was here working in enrollment when these guys were causing mayhem on campus. And I may or may not have been inspiration with some stories, but it is interesting that out of the 6 or 7 guys, if you track the number of CEOs, CIOs, department chairs, chief of staffs, it's an amazing group of guys. So there's a method to the madness and a reason for the mayhem, in my opinion, but don't tell Dr. Perry I said that. The next award, our committee has, and I do have to say, we're talking about dorms and dorm life in Mayhem. Roger mentioned that we were at 96% capacity this year. So I will be taking applications for anyone who wants to be our next donor to build the next dormitory, as we're clearly getting close to hitting capacity repeatedly. So anyway. The next award, our nomination committee, we've gone round and round with, well, what does the Spirit of Belhaven Award mean? Is it someone who exhibits the Spirit of Belhaven well, or someone who supports the university well? And I'm proud to tell you that this recipient is one of many we've had who exemplifies both the Spirit of Belhaven and the way they live out their life, but also the way they come and volunteer and support our work in our office. Cherie Thompson embodies Belhaven's heart: to serve, not to be served. She is a dedicated healthcare professional pursuing her doctorate in healthcare administration, while also leading in her community as a Girl Scout troop leader, board member, and ministry volunteer at Word of Life Church. Her leadership is marked by humility, service, and a love for others. The Spirit of Belhaven Award honors one who lives out Christ's call to serve faithfully in every sphere of life. Her joyful obedience reminds us that true greatness is found in serving others in Jesus' name. Cherie Thompson, please join me at the podium.
Wow, so far this evening I found all the fun was before my time. But I am deeply humbled and incredibly honored to stand before you this evening as a recipient of the Spirit of Belhaven Award. When I look around the room, I see faces that represents the very best of Belhaven. And to be recognized among you this evening means the world. When I got the call, the first thing I was asked, are you sitting down? And I was at the desk, I worked from home, and I said yes. And just the news from there, if I wasn't, it would have made me take a seat. It was definitely a wow moment. But I first just want to give all glory and honor to the Lord. Without his guidance and grace, none of my accomplishments would be possible. Belhaven has always been a place where faith and learning was brought together, and that foundation has been a guiding light since graduation. The support I received during my time truly inspired me to continue helping others, as they have helped me along the way. Completing my degree have always been a long-held goal, and I remember vividly the challenge and blessings along the way. When my husband and I graduated with, after receiving our bachelor's degree, and we was lucky to get nice jobs after graduation, and we decided, okay, it's time to let's start a family. And it didn't happen on my time. The doctors actually said, well, it may not never happen. And I remember I was like, okay, well, if it's not my time, maybe I'll go back to school. And started working on my master's, and I started at Belhaven. And I remember feeling ill in class, and it was one night, and I went again, and I got sick again. And I was like, what is going on? And I laughed, and I looked, I said, oh my, the time is now. When I have went back to school, how am I going to juggle all of this? But I tried, and I went back to school, and I remember being at the Jackson campus off 55, and my classmates, they saw I was not feeling good in class, and that moment, I just remember, I'm sorry. They came around me, and they prayed over me. My very first pregnancy. And that little girl right there, my oldest, try not to embarrass her, but when you've been told that that moment may not never happen, and to be in a room where everyone, we stopped our lesson, and my professor joined in, and they surrounded me, and they didn't just pray for me that night. They prayed for my entire pregnancy, to go forward, to be able to complete the program, to finish what I started. So I am forever grateful. So I knew Belhaven was more than just an institution to me. It was a community of believers who truly care and supported one another. So I am forever grateful that I selected Belhaven to continue my educational journey. Since graduation, I have carried this spirit with me, fulfilling my goal of helping others. I went on to start a nonprofit because I wanted to provide resources to those in underserved communities, as well as help the next generation. And that's when I decided to become as a Girl Scout leader with Girl Scouts of Greater Mississippi. And it has provided me the opportunity, to volunteer in many organizations throughout. And even at the church, when my daughter, she see me, she go on Sunday, and she said, well, Dad, Mommy's helping in the nursery. And she asked the lady at the front, she said, well, can I help him? I'm old enough. And it just warms my heart to see her, want to follow behind me with something that I'm doing. So this Alumni Spirit Award means so much to me because it just affirms that the values that Belhaven instilled in all of us, that our purpose extends beyond ourselves. It's a reminder that we lead with faith and a servant heart, and we can make tangible differences in the world. So thank you once again for this incredible honor. May God continue to bless this beautiful campus, and to all who are a part of this amazing family. And I just want to say, when I came back to volunteer, I remember pulling into the parking garage, and I was like, man, they got it made now. I remember fighting for a park, But thank you all, and I'm again just grateful for the opportunity.
I tell you, for those of us that were here, as somebody mentioned, when we weren't certain the school was going to continue, it is startling to stop and see and realize what God has done here in growing the campus and the programs. It really is a big deal. I'm going to take a second to find my notes for Jake Clark, our young alum of the year. And evidently, oh, here we go. Well, it would have been easy anyway. Jake has been just a bright presence on this campus. One of our golf athletes here. And he's reached out to us. He's been encouraging and kind to me, and it's been good to see him at events around town as well. Jake is a rising leader in Mississippi's real estate industry. As the broker owner of New Way Realty Mississippi, he has built a multifaceted business in just a few short years, one marked by integrity, innovation, and purpose. His leadership is rooted in biblical values, guided by excellence. The Young Alum of the Year Award recognizes a recent graduate who exemplifies success and service earlier in the career. I also want to point out that his wife Tyler is here, and y'all been married how long now?
Almost 3 months.
Almost 3 months. So we got newlyweds here, and it's great to have you both here. Jake, please step up to the podium.
Also get my notes out. I was told I had 5 minutes to speak, and if I didn't have notes, I would speak as long as Dr. Parrott does in a chapel. So, and we don't want Frank to pull me off the stage. I'm incredibly honored to be the Young Alumnus of the Year. I like Fred, like being people's business, so it's really hard to shock me as well. And Frank and Sherry did shock me. My dad, right here, I work with my dad. He said he wanted to come by to my office and talk to me. After hindsight's 2020, I thought that's kind of weird. He wanted to come into the office and work. But it's awesome to be back in this room. My freshman year, I was on an SCA lead team throughout my whole time at Belhaven. We started in the theater in the student center with maybe 20 people coming in to SCA on Monday nights. Then we started getting some more people here, so we used that half of the room. By the time it was my sophomore, junior year, we were filling up this entire room on Monday nights in SCA. Including setting up worship night. I was playing drums right where the stage is, trying to play here without monitors. I don't know how many musicians are in here. It's a very hard thing to do. So I graduated in 2021. I actually got a 5th year free if you double majored at that time. We went through a thing called COVID too. So I have 2 majors and my MBA from Belhaven. I'm incredibly thankful for my time here, and it's meant a whole lot to me, both personally and business. When I got here, I was in a transition phase. I had just gotten out of baseball. My dad coached for forever. My brother actually coached here as well, so baseball was kind of a smart thing. And my junior year at high school, I said, I'm not going to do baseball anymore. I'm going to try this golf thing. So I had no idea where I was going to go. Belhaven was a great landing spot for me, and it set me up for what's happened in my life, and I cannot be more grateful for that. So when I got here, I was an undecided major, so I majored in what all undecided students do, and that's interdisciplinary studies. So I tried a computer science course, I tried principles of accounting, and I went to maybe 1 class of computer science and went, let's do this accounting thing and see what happens. So it was kind of funny because I went to the registrar's office to actually declare my major as accounting, and it's honestly a God thing because I got in there, they said, what are you talking about? You're already an accounting major. So I went, okay, I guess this is the fourth time to be able to do this. So I'm very thankful for Ms. Romark who taught all the first level accounting classes, Dr. Goldsmith and his patients. He actually retired. I actually got to help him sell his house in Jackson right after he retired. And then I'm most thankful that I found a way to pass one of Dr. Penn's economics class, which if you know, you know. estate while I was here at Belhaven right after my sophomore year in 2019. Like I said, my dad, he was an old retired coach, and when he retired, my mom said, "You got to find something to do." So he found his way into real estate, and I followed shortly after him. My parents have joked with me that there's this whole education thing they've paid for, and I'm doing something that doesn't need a degree. But once again, I wouldn't be where I am today without Belhaven. All the accounting classes taught me how to manage a business. I took small business and entrepreneurship, marketing classes, and business law classes that I still use day in, day out with my business. I still actually use, Dr. Mason used to be the dean of the School of Business before he retired, but I actually still use paperwork from his class, from his capstone class today when I'm doing like my monthly and quarterly reviews and everything. So what started a job that I started that was just a why not, might as well try it, has turned into a thriving residential sales business and also a property management business. My biggest accomplishment so far was in 2024. I was top 10 residential sales for Central Mississippi. And Belhaven was the foundation for all of this. Business being taught through biblical principles and how to treat others like Christ. There have been so many times in my journey from high school to college and to the real world, I don't know how I really got here, but looking back, God really laid a path, and everything that has happened has been perfectly timed and has been a blessing for my life. So, of course, I want to thank Frank and Sherry for all y'all done and inviting me here for this weekend. Dr. Parrott for leading this university so well. Coach Freeman for coaching me and all the memories we had on golf trips and practice and everything. We would take a 12-passenger van 12 hours to Austin with our golf clubs in the back seat. We'd play 54 holes over 2 days and then drive all the way back. Thank you to my parents for the way that they raised me and, of course, paying for my education. They should probably be on this award as well. Thank you to my brother and sister-in-law for their continued support, and they were actually one of my first clients who trusted me as a 20-year-old selling real estate. They've been some of the best clients since they've bought and sold 3, 4, 5 times since I got started. Thank you to Emily Hardy sitting at our table as well. She's basically a second mom to me, and it's also helped a ton with my education, and she's actually a Belhaven alum as well. And of course, special thanks to my beautiful wife, Tyler. We've been married for almost 3 months. We went through a wedding, a honeymoon, and bought a house all within 3 weeks of each other. And she let me go on a golf trip in the second week of that. So all that's been a blur, but I'm super honored to be the Young Alumnus of the Year, and I appreciate y'all.
Golf trip in the second week is a good salesman. When I was a student here, interdisciplinary studies was called humanities. And I stuck it out in humanities for 4 years. So imagine my surprise when on my first real job, I had to learn what a P&L sheet was. But anyway, we are at the top of the list now. We do have nominations that come in. We have a committee that works on reviews and argues over who we have as our recipients. I am proud to tell you that there is no lack of amazing, interesting, accomplished candidates. I always try to meet our nominees, our recipients, before we inform them that they've been selected, usually, hopefully well before, so I have an idea of who they are. So, Spencer was kind enough to come and have coffee with me just because, and it's been neat to get to know him, and his co-recipient, Melanie Sullivan, I think both of the class of 2001. Our alum of the year, Spencer and Melanie Sullivan, are a powerful example of a life and a marriage lived on mission. Today, for 12 years they served in the Middle East among unreached peoples, courageously sharing the hope of Christ in places where the gospel is seldom heard. Today, Spencer serves as pastor of Belhaven Baptist Church, and Melanie continues her calling as a teacher, both still faithfully pouring into others. The Alum of the Year award is Belhaven's highest honor, recognizing those who live lives fully embodying our mission. Spencer and Melanie's faithfulness reminds us that when we say yes to God's call, He does immeasurably more than we can ask or imagine. Spencer and Melanie, would you join me at the podium? We didn't rehearse anything up to small print.
So Melanie nominated me to be our speaker. Yeah. But as we've sat there like 2 or 3 different times, she's told me, "Oh, I'll say something." Well, no, I'm not. Well, yeah. So I think right now she's planning to say something. So, I just want to start, of course, by thanking Belhaven. Congratulations to our fellow award recipients tonight, and we are incredibly humbled and honored to receive this award together. I think we had a very similar experience. The surprise, so Hunter Ketteringham is our youth minister. Bailey, his wife, is director of missions here, and so at the church they were like, we really need to talk to you. And I thought there was a problem, like there was some issue that we needed to work through. And so anyway, and they did this like 3 or 4 days ahead of time. So we were kind of anxious about it for a few days. Anyway, so we showed up at the church though, and I think Frank, you may have been sick or something that day, but you weren't there. But anyway, Sherry and others, friends, Judy and Megan, some others were there with us. And anyway, it was an incredible surprise, and I feel like the shock has yet to wear off as we stand here today. So we think about all the incredible people that we went to school with, some that are in the room right now, and several, of course, countless others that went before us and that have followed us. There are, without question, so many other deserving alumni who have done great things in the world while serving our Lord Jesus well. And so we're just humbled and honored that people would think of us as those who have effectively carried out Belhaven's mission in the world as alumni. And so I think, Melanie, you want to say something now?
Okay, so I actually was a transfer to Belhaven. I went to Hines for the first 2 years of my college, and Spencer was here 4 years, so I just followed him here. He played baseball here, so I just came where he went. But I remember my mom was a teacher all her career, and I remember as a kid, as a teenager, even when I started college, I said the one thing I will never do is teach. I never want to be a teacher. And so the first 2 years of college, I went from major to major, took all the classes, all the things. And by the time I had to declare a major, I couldn't decide. I still had no idea what to do 2 years in. And I remember my mom saying, just get a degree in education. It's always something you can fall back on. And so I did. And then, you know, after a few years, I had some hard years teaching, and we moved overseas, and we came back overseas, and I got a job in a special education classroom. And I remember the first day I stepped in that class, I just knew that I was made to teach special ed, and I just didn't know. So Belhaven played a huge part in that for me. Got my education degree from here, and I have great memories of baseball players' girlfriends trips and all those kinds of things. We had a lot of fun, but we had great years with Belhaven. It was great to be close to home, close enough to home that we could get there when we needed to, and even live at home sometimes. But thank you, Belhaven.
So personally, when I stepped on campus as a student, the first time I could have never imagined the impact that this school would have on my life personally. I was just excited to have the opportunity to play baseball 4 more years. Really, to be honest, that was what brought me here. But God had far larger and greater plans. It was here that God called me to ministry. It was here that God began changing how I saw and viewed the world. It was here that God began to break my heart over the lostness of unreached peoples all around the world. It was here that Melanie and I, before we were married, but knew we were heading that direction, but began to think and pray together about our future. And it's thanks to incredible professors like the late Dr. Joe Martin and the late Dr. Joe Cole. I wish I could thank them personally today. But it was because of them, and it was here that I was equipped to effectively study the Word of God, as well as understand how to use and leverage other gifts in my life for the sake of the gospel and for the kingdom of God. And these skills have served me well for 24 years as He's taken us to the ends of the earth, and now back here to central Mississippi in Pelahatchie. So we could not be more thankful to receive this award, but more than that, we cannot be more grateful for how God has used Belhaven to shape and equip us for the calling that He placed on our lives. And I hope that we can continue to follow our Lord Jesus and fulfill that call in complete obedience to Him. I'd like to thank our parents for being here today, and our 4 amazing children, and our lovely daughter-in-law, along with other dear family members, aunt and uncle, and several dear friends that are sharing this special moment with us tonight. So thank you, Belhaven, and thank you for this tremendous honor and award.
It reminds me of learning to be careful in telling God what I'm not going to do. It's an interesting exercise. Spencer mentioned 2 late professors. It's been a real joy to come back and to get to see and meet people who inspired all of us so much. Bill, Ben, and but I especially think of those who have passed on since I come back, with Dr. Busby, Huey Bowden, Larry Mills, and so many others. And we got word today of another loss of a significant alum who once worked in our office. So I close to say that, not to be morose, but to encourage you to not miss the chance to go and thank the people who inspired you and had an impact on you while they're still here. And if that means coming back to Belhaven more often, then please make that happen. We love having you here. It's an encouragement and a joy to us to see you all here. I do want to stop again and thank our top sponsor, the Prados and the Prado Hotel, and thank you for being here tonight. It means the world to us. And like somebody that we've heard tonight, people who have committed to being here in Jackson, here in Mississippi, serving and loving and being a cheerleader for our city and our state, I thank you all. It means the world.